Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us, watching our TNR Plus series. I'm Josh Tavares, licensed realtor with eXp Realty Brokerage here in Toronto. We've got a special guest here today, Arlind Anamali from Dominion Lending Group. We're talking about personal residence rental financing. Thanks so much, Arlind, for coming on and taking time out of your day.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. If you could just tell us a bit about, how you got started in real estate and especially in the financing industry.
Well, financing started coming to me after I bought my first property. When you buy the first property, the first mortgage, lots of things happen and you don't really realize what's happening every single step. So after that, I really wanted to understand how all the transaction happened and how did I get to owning a house. And I started looking for answers, and the curiosity brought me to get licensed and to pursue a new career. Yeah.
Love it. No, that's great.
Yeah,
I like that
we actually had some conversation about equities back on time before I was a mortgage agent, and
Yes.
that sort of developed a little bit of that idea of, I want to know more about this, right?
Yes, definitely. We did a couple of years back. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure help with opening up the opportunities of what real estate can definitely help with building long-term wealth and whatnot, for sure.
Absolutely.
If you could give us a bit of an idea about owner-occupied rentals and how first-time home buyers get involved.
Owner-occupied rentals, as every other property, needs to have those three pillars for getting access to. It's the down payment, it's the good credit, or relatively good credit,
Mm-hmm.
and your income, right? So the idea is, nowadays what we're seeing is so difficult to qualify because of that stress test that has been introduced, and you need to qualify everybody using a rate of 4.79. So people that make $100,000 a year, they can only qualify for 500. And nowadays in the GTA, it's a very low amount, right? You can't really buy anything for that much. So you need to be finding the right way. And by finding the right way, I mean, if you're buying a property and you're renting the basement of it, that amount of money that you're collecting from the rent in the basement, that can help your income, that can help boost your income to sort of access a little bit more money in order to get that property.
Excellent. Yeah, I know when you brought this to my attention, I was so intrigued because, of course, being the background that we have with investments, it opened our eyes, but also for first-time home buyers who want to get in the housing market, and there's been so many barriers the last couple of years. We really thought this approach, this whole financing you kind of brought up to my attention, was really unique and interesting. That it's really great, of course, for those who want to enter the market, but also have that supplementary income for not only, of course, to help supplement their costs, but also to use for financing purposes before obtaining the property, which I found was really interesting. Yeah. How many units can example for someone trying to get into this type of financing, like example, a first-time home buyer, how many units is really the maximum that someone can qualify for something of this type of lending?
So the idea is 4 units. 4 units would be the maximum. You need to have your primary residence in one of these 4 units, and you can rent the other ones out. Now you can buy with 5%, which is the minimum required down payment. Mm-hmm. These properties are accessible with that much down payment. Mm-hmm. But the 5% is on the first $500,000, mm-hmm. and then on the remaining amount, so from 500 to $1 million, that would be a 10% of it, because mm-hmm. maximum value for these sort of properties, if you want to buy with minimum down payment required, would be $1 million, right? You can't have anything over $1 million. I mean, you can buy something over $1 million, but you need yes. to put 20% down, right?
Yeah. Pretty big chunk for sure, over 250 or whatnot, definitely.
Yeah.
So with regard to the owner-occupied financing, who would you say is an ideal client to just check all the boxes off for you guys on the lending side?
We start from having your down payment from your own resources, right? It can't be a down payment that you borrow from a line of credit that is in your parents' name, or somebody is just giving you money and they're expecting that money to go back. If it's a gift, it's great, but
Definitely.
if not, it needs to be your own money, right? From your savings, from your RRSP or equity in a house, even though if we're talking about a first-time home buyer, that doesn't apply, right? So down payment is very important. A credit, at least at 680, that is required from the insurers, because we're talking here with buying with less than 20% down, and these mortgages are insured, right? So it's considered a high ratio mortgage. And the income, right? Now, the credit, you can get some strategies to fix that credit. The down payment, well, you need to be organized and save as much as you can and work with a long-term plan if you don't have the down payment. And the income can be boosted a little bit from those rents, right? This is the idea, right? You find a solution for all these requirements.
Yeah, that's one thing I really liked about what you have presented this to me, is that the ability to come up with a unique solution that's not so easily accessible, especially in the past with everything that's going on with COVID and everything with financing. I like the fact that you can use the potential of that, that basement unit, that additional units you may have in the home, that really gives the opportunity to obtain financing, because of course things become really challenging with, the rates have gone really, really low. So of course the prices have gone high, and it becomes really, really hard to qualify. So I like that there's that unique approach to still say, hey, in the past, you may have not qualified for something like this, but we can crunch some numbers and come up with creative solutions to make this worth your while. So I really, really like that. That's really, really cool. It stood out to me, especially as an investor. Now, what are some barriers that, someone trying to get into this owner-occupied financing, in terms of being able to obtain it from the lender side? What are some barriers that may make it difficult for some people to obtain this financing?
Well, again, the three things that they're looking for. We start in from the credit score, right? You need to have a 680 credit score at least to be considered. If you're 1 point under that, there's nothing to do, right? Because these mortgages, they're going to be insured from one of the three insurers that cover the Canadian market. So, the credit is very important, and it could break a deal. The income, again, you can't stretch much around it if you are in a high ratio mortgage. And the down payment, it needs to be at least 90 days in your bank account, and we need to see where it's coming from. Like, I need to present to the lender the documentation that says this is where this down payment is coming from.
100%. No, I like that. Now, with this type of financing, being that it's, I know you were saying to me that it's a bit newer on the market, how long do you foresee this sticking around, given everything that's taken place? Do you see this being like a long-term strategy, something short-term, or just its true potential of its ability to stick around on the market?
One of the things that is crucial in here is how you crunch those numbers to use the rents that you're collecting, right? How can you use 100% of that rent to get you the most amount of money from the lender, right? That's the idea. Now, that depends from lender to lender. There are certain lenders that offer products that allow you to almost use, not almost, but to use 100% of the rents that you're collecting, right? And I believe it will be available as a product. People will take advantage of it, and it puts certain individuals in a position that they can afford houses that before that they couldn't, right? So
I like it. Yeah. And I can definitely see a lot of other lending institutions, given that once I could see this having a high success rate, that a lot of other lending institutions will probably get involved and say, hey, this institution's doing it. We're seeing a lot of success with it. People are, paying in full. There's no delinquency. Everything is working out well, and seeing everyone kind of with anything you see in any market, everyone just kind of, one person does it, becomes successful. Everybody copies and rinses and repeats. And I think it'll be a little more of a norm than perhaps in the past, where it's all about how can I purchase my first ever, detached or semi-detached home, having nothing to do with financing in terms of like the secondary suite. So I think it's definitely something that will be able to stick around in the future.
It's important, though. Let me interrupt you here. It's important to make sure that the primary residence of the buyer has to be in this property that they're buying. You can't really just buy the property and rent it all out. That is not going to be okay with the lenders, right? So you need to live in that property.
No, that's really awesome. I think it's going to be a really popular product. I think it's going to get you guys, a ton of business, and I can see this being something that's going to be huge for building equity and being able to have many people who never even thought they could even enter home ownership and be able to use it as a ripple effect to build the pillars, to build multiple properties, and hopefully get closer to freedom and building equity and wealth and whatnot. And I really like it. I think it's something that's going to be really successful in the future.
Yeah, and also it's important to mention here that it's not only for the first-time home buyers that everybody can buy for a property like this with 5% down. There's no issue with that, right? So actually, it works very well for people that already own a property or a condo or something, and they want to move out of it, and that's it's a good way out.
Nice. I think this is going to be a really popular product in the market for years to come. So what's one of the best ways that people can stay in touch with you, Arlind? Well,
just Google me, Arlind Anamali, on Google, and you'll find all the necessary information to contact me.
Excellent. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day and explaining some of this out. For all of you that are watching, remember to check out Arlind's information online. He's also got an Instagram page. Feel free to take a look at that. And if you got any questions, feel free to reach out to him. Or you can you feel free to mention a comment below, and Arlind will get back to you, or I will forward it over to Arlind. Guys, remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and jiggle the notification bell for more updates. Thanks so much, Arlind, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.